You want to dive into the basics of shuffle blues or take your riffs and licks to the next level, then this video is right for you. Today I'll show you a basic pattern of a typical shuffle blues, and then we'll break it down in more detail, adding some accents and other stuff. Plus I'll play a cool solo packed with ideas you can use in your own playing. There's a lot to cover. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I love exploring both blues and jazz on the guitar. This one leans a little bit more towards the bluesy side. No time to waste, let's get started. My name's Markus. Make sure you check out my Patreon for the backing tracks and tabs for this video, link in the description. By the way, something new and exciting, I've just launched my newsletter, and it's going to be a big part of what I do going forward. Think of online courses, exclusive content, and so on. As a thank for signing up, you'll get a free PDF with diagrams and scale boxes, perfect for building solos and expand your fretboard knowledge. Just head over to markusbach.de, hit the subscribe button, and you're in. So what are we going to do today? We'll start with a simple riff in the key of E, very basic and beginner friendly. Then step by step we'll add some lines and accents to bring it to life. And of course we'll wrap it all up with a catchy solo full of tasty licks that help to expand your blues vocabulary. What's a shuffle? Let's start with a basic 4-beat, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we divide each beat into 2. That gives us 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we divide each beat into 3. That gives us triplets. This triplet feel is the foundation of a shuffle. Often we leave out the middle note of the triplet, which creates the classic shuffle sound, like this. It takes time to really nail the feel, so be patient and always practice with a metronome. This video is based on a standard 2-bar quick change blues in the key of E. Here's how it goes. The 1-bar E, then A, E again, 1-bar E, A, 1-bar E again, E, and then B7, A7, E and B7 again. That's it. The riff is built around a power chord, using the notes E, B, and E again, root note, 5th, and the octave. The 5th, B, alternates with C sharp, the 6th. That's a typical boogie riff. Simple in concept, but not too easy to execute well. Why? Because damping is the key. Without it, it sounds messy. Damping is essential for locking into the groove. I use so-called palm muting with my right hand. I tilt it slightly like this, but you can also damp with your left hand. In fact, there are as many damping techniques as there are players. Find what's comfortable and sounds good to you. When we move to the 4 chord, the riff stays technically the same, it just shifts one string higher. And then we return to the 1 chord. As a 5 chord, I play B7 like this. Now we go to the 4 chord A7, and finally we reach the turnaround. The turnaround is the last 2 bars of a blues progression. It starts with this shape, middle finger on the 4th fret on the G string, index finger on the 3rd fret on the B string, and of course the high E string, and then the shape moves chromatically down like this till it finally ends in the E position. It's easy to play but very effective. Now let's move on to example 2. I have 3 comping examples for you in total. If you're only interested in the solo stuff, feel free to skip ahead. This video is divided into chapters. The difference here lies in the transitions, first between the 1 and the 4 chord, and then between the 1 and the 5 chord. You briefly double the bass line, playing in unison with the bass player. It's important to lock in with the bass. If the bassist plays something different, it can sound messy. So you start with the open string, E, then F sharp, 2nd fret, G, it's on the 3rd fret, G sharp, it's on the 4th fret, and then A, the 4 chord. The transition to the 5 chord goes like this. We start on the E again, then G sharp, the E string on the 4th fret, then the open A string on the 1st fret, and then we reach B7. One word to the guitar sound. Of course you can play the blues on any guitar. I saw Hubert Sumlin playing the blues on a Rickenbacker, which is a quite untypical guitar for blues. This guitar is my parts caster. I built it around this pickup. It's a Lollard Charlie Christian. This is a Lollard Special T, and they fit nicely together. I use both pickups for this rhythm part. Now here's the 3rd and final part of the comping pattern. It's the pro version. It uses some added accents. This one's really cool. I borrowed it from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Gary Moore. It's a little bit tricky though. Accent number 1 is this. It's the high E string and the B string with an upstroke. You insert it into the riff like this. And the 2nd accent is this. Play the A chord with a downstroke and the E7 with an upstroke. The tabs are available on my Patreon, so feel free to check them out if you want to learn the passage step by step. I have a variation for the ending for you, and this is a reminder that in blues nothing is fixed, so you can do whatever you want. You can do a lot of different variations, and this is one, ending number 2. The turnaround is played in 6th. You start with your middle finger. the G string, the 4th fret, you can slide into it. Then with the ring finger on the high E string, 4th fret, play with your pick the G string, E string and G string again, and then you go chromatically down to the E chord. Now what's the blues without some cool solo stuff? For this video I did something I normally don't do. I kind of composed a solo. So for me, blues is improvised music just like jazz. But I composed a solo to show you some of the techniques and some of the licks I use very often. For the blues we use the minor pentatonic, that's it. When you add the diminished fifth, it's on the G string on the 3rd fret, or on the A string on the 1st fret, you get the blues scale. The solo starts with this little lick. It's basically these notes. We start with the open B string, high E string, 3rd fret, open E string, B string again, B string 3rd fret, high E string. And what I do, I bend the E string and the B string on the 3rd fret. And this gives this typical blues sound. Without it, it would sound like this. And with the bending, it sounds like this. It starts to live. I continue with a little run, which is basically the blues scale upside down. And end with a minor 3rd, which is on the G string on the 1st fret. And I make a little hammering. And you know this note because of the open E chord. This note is part of the open E chord. So you can use the minor pentatonic or the blues scale and add this note because it's part of the chord. This is the 2nd lick. I start with the middle finger on the B string on the 3rd fret. And I also play the high E string. I play these 2 notes together and then I slide from the 3rd to the 5th fret and the notes become unison. And I hit them 3 times, 2 times, 3 times. This is the shuffle feel. Then I go back, play the open B string. And then I go to the G string and I start on the 3rd fret and I slide down to the 2nd fret, open G string, and then I play on the D string on the 2nd fret, which is the root note again. It's best to end with the index finger, so you could start again with the middle finger. The next lick is kind of a chord lick. I also start with the G sharp. So this is an E chord. And then I play the D, which is the minor 7th. And I bend it a little bit. And I end with the high E string. So what do I play on the 5 chord? I start with the open B string, 3rd fret, open B string again, and then I play on the high E string, 2nd fret, open B string again, high E string, 1st fret, B string again, on the A7 chord I play, I start with the open B string, E string, 3rd fret, B string again, E string, 2nd fret, open E string, B string, 3rd fret, open B string. And then I go down the blues scale, blue note. And I also land on the major third because I like it. The last lick is a little add-on. You can play it like this, or you just can play the turnaround. So this video is meant to be a survival kit, right? The solo you just heard was played in the open position, and I really love the sound of the open position. But to complete the picture, let's transpose it one octave higher to the 12th fret. The minor pentatonic is now played this way. And this is the blues scale. So the first lick turns in 2. And I continue. Or I can do it with double stops. That's 2 notes at the same time. It's A and C sharp. It's G sharp and B. So what do I do with the second lick? You remember I slide it into the E from the B string on the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. Well, now I can bend the B string. When I play the high E string on the 12th fret at the same time, I have this so-called unison bend. It might be easier to transpose this lick and the licks on the 5 chord and the 4 chord. Become this. You can play the turnaround, or this turnaround, or any other lick will do. Finally, I want to show you a version that brings together everything we covered today. But before I do that, I want to thank you for watching the video. If you liked the content, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. That really helped my channel grow. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. See you next time.